22nd, 2020. Welcome everyone to this week's policy meeting for the Police Commission. We are honored to have with us two very special guests, but before we get started, I just want to acknowledge that today's meeting is a special shortened meeting. We acknowledge that we have two special experts, and we did not want in any way to circumvent that conversation and miss that conversation. So we, instead of missing this meeting, wanted to hold and focus this conversation, listen to this important conversation, and then we will reconvene next week following this discussion, and then come back to discuss more of the final deliberations around the recommendations around the next two meetings. Rather, will be focused in on our final recommendations, and we'll talk more about what that will look like, that process will look like. But without further ado, I want to come back in and focus in on our discussion today. We will have a brief introduction here, and I think it's only proper that our Vice Chair Lucas bring us to this space together, because she worked so fervently to bring these experts to us today. And I shouldn't just say experts, for these two powerhouse advocates here and true giants in the space. So without further ado, Vice Chair Lucas, would you like to do the honors of welcoming our guests tonight?
Yes, hi. Thank you so much to Rashida Fatuga and Larry Turnley for joining us. I want to apologize for my technical difficulties. I'm not really sure what's happening, but hopefully after I give the introduction, I'll be able to fix it and I can see you all. So Rashida Fatuga is a mother, teacher, mentor, and acclaimed activist. She is a visionary with a revolutionary style of leadership and activism that transforms communities.
Amanda, we lost you. Did anyone else lose audio on Amanda?
Yeah, I can't hear her either.
Amanda, I believe we lost you there.
Amanda, you might want to disconnect and connect again. I can see your audio moving.
Yeah, but I think we lost her. And if that's the case, then I can pick up with the intro. And that's totally fine. Okay, so, and that's okay. I think she'll, let me just, if it's okay, I'm going to just send her a quick message, because she might not even be able to hear that we can't hear her. Cannot hear you. And what did we tell her to do? Disconnect and reconnect?
She's disconnected. I think she's working on reconnecting now, but yes, tell her to try reconnecting.
To hear you then. Okay. Okay, I just asked her to do that. Okay. So I'll just pick up where she left off. So a birth, adoptive, and surrogate mother of too many children to count, Rashida embraces her divine gift for loving and protecting children and has dedicated her life to doing just so. She is the founder and CEO of Gideon's Army, a grassroots army for children, eliminating the root causes of the prison pipeline. With a reputation for powerful grassroots action, Gideon's Army embodies a new way of organizing that is both fun and strategic, using music, song, theater, and dance as a catalyst for restorative justice in Nashville. Gideon's Army led the campaign for restorative justice in Metro Nashville public schools and birthed the juvenile diversion program for Davidson County juvenile courts. In collaboration with a host of government, community, and organization partners, Gideon's Army is currently using theater of the oppressed to spearhead one of the most innovative community-based restorative justice models in the country. She's a prolific speaker and trainer on youth issues, education, art as activism, social justice, transformative organizing, and restorative justice. We're so very honored and pleased that you thought to welcome and accept our invitation. Welcome, Ms. Fatuga. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here with you all.
Welcome, welcome. Thank you. And Ms. Lucas, I think we've got you back. No? thought I saw. I might be wrong, but I thought I saw it.
I'm here.
Okay, welcome back too. I hope you don't mind. I picked up where you left off on it.
No, I'm so glad you did.
Okay.
But my issues continue, and so I can't seem to pull up the introduction to Mr. Turnley. Hold on one second. I might be able to get there. Just give me 1 minute, and I think I'll be able to.
I'll give you a moment, and if not, I have it in front of me too. So I got your back.
Oh, okay. So you have his as well. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind. And I apologize. I was looking forward to that, but please continue.
No problem. I'm happy to. Mr. Turnley, if you don't mind, I'll do the honors. That's okay? I will. Mr. Turnley is the reentry coordinator and violence interrupter for Gideon's Army. He is a returning citizen after serving 20 years in federal prison. And plus, he also helped start an annual Thanksgiving Day dinner in J.C. Napier and an annual Christmas coat drive at Napier School. Both are in its 5th year. He also was the regional organizer director for Tom Steyer's 2020 presidential campaign. Presently, he is on the community panel to pick the next police chief for the mayor's committee. Please welcome Mr. Turnley as well. Mr. Turnley, we welcome you with open arms as well, sir. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you all for the invite and the kind words.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your service. Vice Chair Lucas, I'll hand it over to you if you would like to turn it back over to our guest. Oh, you're on mute, Vice Chair Lucas.
Sorry, I'm middle-aged and new to this technology. COVID was the first time I've ever done video conferencing, so thank you for bearing with me tonight. It's been a rough day. The Gideon's Army does so much in the community, and I know that we're asking you to almost sort of narrow your focus for us tonight. But what the committee is very interested in hearing about is learning more about what you all do, especially with the violence interrupters, and a little bit of the history of the program, because we're very much interested in learning about opportunities for community-based response to crises, whether that's violence, whether or not that's mental health or homelessness. And Gideon's Army has been in the community doing good work for so long. And so we just wanted to invite the two of you to come and speak to the committee about what your organization does, and specifically with regard to sort of crisis calls that could be managed without having to involve MNPD.
Thank you. I sent a deck. Do you all have access to that, and can everyone see it, or is it something that you want us to just discuss? What is the best?
I sent it to everyone. Perhaps Ashley could share her screen and make that available. If you could let her know which one. There was 3 different ones, I believe. Ashley, do you have that? Could you share your screen with that, or would you need to send that to Kenya?
Well, so we all do have it on our in our email. I actually don't have sharing capabilities right now,
Okay.
but let me know, members of the committee too. Let me know if anyone needs. Oh, it looks like I just got sharing permission. So hold on 1 second, and give me a moment here. And Mr. Sheet, and let me pull it up. Give me a moment here, and I will locate it. 1 second here. Okay, which one should I pull up first?
Well,
Which one
it should
would be
have only
great?
been one. I don't know how y'all have 3. It should say Gideon's Success to 1.pdf.
Okay, yep, I see that one. Okay, it has 5. No, excuse me, it has 9 slides to it.
No,
Or should it?
no, it has 28.
Oh, so it might be broken into. several components here because this one had.
Oh, well, that's
Yeah.
weird. Well, y'all have it. You know, in an interest of saving time, I'm happy to talk you through
Yeah.
it. I like telling
Yeah, that's
stories,
fine.
so we'll just have story time.
Okay. That works. That works. We'll follow along.
Okay. So I want to start with. Uh-oh, can y'all hear me?
We sure can. We can hear you.
Okay, I was trying to put my video on. Let's see. Okay. Okay, there we go. Hi.
There, we can see you too.
Okay. So, I want to start just by letting y'all know first that Gideon's Army, it started with the murder of one of my students, Lamar Hughes. I was a Metro Nashville public school teacher, and so really just trying to find solutions to curb violence, put an end to the school to prison pipeline, and just really touch and dismantle the root causes of the school to prison pipeline. Our mission is to eliminate the root cause of the prison pipeline, save our children from death and incarceration, and guide them on a secure path to success. Gideon's Army is a restorative justice-based organization, and restorative justice really is a philosophy and a way of life. It's an ethos that's based on a foundation of community caring, relationship building, culture change that really focuses on how to create healthy systems and communities. And so the beautiful thing about that is that the sky is the limit. Because it's a way of life and it is a philosophy, it leaves room for a lot of creativity. With there being a deep focus on collective healing, rebuilding of trust, deep care, as well as restoration for the person who has been harmed and for the person who's caused the harm and for the community. So you're bringing everybody together who's been impacted by harm as much as possible to work together to figure out how to repair the harm that has been caused. Because a lot of times we talk about restorative justice, but people don't actually know what it is. And there's also a spectrum. So there's very restorative where everybody's come together, everybody's figuring out how to make things right, how to restore balance and a sense of safety in the lives of community members who've been impacted. And then there's like the other side of the spectrum where maybe the person who's been harmed doesn't want to get together with the person who's harmed them. Maybe they want to write a letter or have someone else represent for them, or a healing circle without the person who's caused the harm. But either way, we're looking at how do we take care of people who've been hurt? How do we put an end and get ahead of, some of the issues? And then how do we make things right when things go wrong? So we look at a really public health, really looking at crime and violence and all of these things from a public health perspective. Gideon's Army focuses on 4 different areas: schools, courts, public safety, and community. And some of the issues or some of the problems that we see, one is that Metro police officers are doing jobs that they're not qualified for, that it's not on their job description. Metro police officers are not mental health workers. They're really not first responders, like in the way that we would think. And the way that their job is, it can also really increase risk for mental health issues. Like there are a lot of different issues that arise with the way that we do policing in America. The other thing is that the issues that we face are bigger than one person. So even with a police chief, we are still dealing with systemic oppression that is national and is a part of the culture of policing in America. And then there's the issue of there being lack of social determinants of health in Nashville communities that are handled by criminalizing people who are unhealthy or people who are in unhealthy communities. So these are some of the issues that we see, some of the things that we set out to deal with, understanding the crime and violence are negative effects, that deeply impact the determinants of health. It's a cycle. So education, economic conditions, healthcare systems, the physical environment, community resources, community cohesion, and community peace all impact each other and kind of work in a cycle. So when one of those things is off, it can easily get all of those things off. But violence is one of the main determinants, or peace within the community is one of the main determinants of health that can knock everything off. But all of these other determinants also determine whether there is violence in the community. So bringing the police in on the back end doesn't really make sense because it doesn't help to create healthier communities. And a lot of people's pages or pictures are loading. Can y'all still hear me?
We can.
Can y'all hear me?
We can.
Yeah, we can hear you, Rashida.
Can y'all still hear me? You can?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yeah, thumbs up.
So violence in Nashville is an epidemic. Okay. Violence in Nashville is a public health issue. Oh. Okay, I think it's like slow because I said that like 2 minutes ago. So the public health approach to addressing crime and violence focuses on mitigating modifiable root causes. Public health is population-based, rooted in risk factors and protective factors, impacts families and communities in large populations. So we'd be looking at individual, interpersonal, organizational, community, and policy modifiable risk factors, contributors to risk factors. Gideon's Army, so what we've done is we've created this model, and okay, I'm gonna have to visualize it for you quickly, but there's what does it take at the top? What does it take to create healthy communities? And then at the bottom of this model is what does it take to make things right when harm is caused? So at the top, we've got community input, research, program design, best practices, just having a leadership team. When we started this program, there were 72 students from Pearl Cone and many of their family members who all came together to make, to design this project. The young people, they created the hiring process. They interviewed the violence interrupters. They even called and let the violence interrupters know who was hired and who would not be hired. It was very, very community-centric and involved. But we've got street outreach, canvassing, community building, economic advancement support, job support, community mobilization and organizing, resource coordination, and then school-based restorative justice is also really important because communities that have programs that coordinate with schools see an additional 20% drop in violence within the community just by having violence interrupters, restorative justice programs in the school. So we were as thorough as we could be. But then when harm occurs, there's violence interruption, trauma intervention, and that's one thing that makes us different even from Cure Violence. We have trauma responders within 24 hours of a shooting occurring, and we do work with MMPD in that they do notify us when shootings occur, but we haven't been getting a lot of calls because violence has been going down. But within 24 hours of a shooting occurring, a trauma responder is tracking down this family and trying to make sure that they have the support that they need. So planning funerals, emotional grief support, healing circles, taking them through the criminal justice program, helping them navigate if they choose to not go through the criminal justice program. Our services are very, very thorough. Family circles, reentry circles. We have programs in juvenile detention. Folks can come, be referred through the schools, through the courts. They can come directly from the community. We've even had situations where MMPD has called us and said, this is a person who we feel might be high risk. They've given us permission to reach out to you. Can you work with them, in order to hopefully prevent a future arrest? And the violence interrupters may take and mentor them. So our diversion programs kind of function in 4 parts. There's community building, violence interruption, community conferencing, restorative justice circles, and then community self-empowerment, which is neighborhood organizing, just civic engagement is probably what we would call it, like in government systems. And so very quickly in the schools, Gideon's Army was originally behind the push to change Metro Nashville school, the policy manual, the student parent handbook, policies around student discipline, integrating restorative justice into the school system, getting them to adopt restorative justice. But then what we did is we created programs and models to support the schools, push for them to have restorative justice practitioners. So we had a program at Pearl Cone, and we're at McKissick. In Pearl Cone, well, really at both schools, what happens is instead of a student being suspended or expelled, they get sent to us, they get sent to the zone, and then we have a variety of restorative justice interventions from circles. We do regular mentoring, family interventions, home visits, pretty much whatever it takes to make sure that whatever the situation is, it's made right. Restorative circles between teachers and students, bringing whole families together to work with the schools. We have a youth action team, which is our leadership team. We have a meditation room at McKissick Middle, well, pre-COVID, meditation room. And so before any student is referred for a suspension or an expulsion, they're sent to Gideon's Army, to the zone. And the wonderful thing about us being in all four areas is that we can coordinate with the courts should a student get in trouble in the courts, or our trauma responder. For example, we had a Metro school student whose brother was shot in front of everybody at his birthday party, a cookout. And in Metro, you only get a few days to grieve, like a week, and then you have to come back to school and pretty much act like everything is normal. And our non-traditional case management program, you know, we can go in the middle of the night and be with the family. We get them and take them to school in the morning. We walk and sit with them in classes, you know, just whatever it takes to help the child reintegrate back into school. And then with the court, the next would be courts. So we have a partnership with Judge Rachel Bell, Music City Community Court, that it's launched, but it got stopped due to COVID. But it's restorative interventions in our general sessions court. Gideon's Army designed and created the juvenile court restorative justice program that is now being run by the Rafa Institute. And let's see, hold on. Sorry, my computer froze up for a minute. So we created that program as well. It's a restorative justice formal circles where families are referred, and if they would like to circle up with a young person who's caused harm, they can do that, sit in a circle, and again, figure out what needs to happen in order to make things right. And from what I understand, the Rafa Institute is doing a really great job with that model. We prefer to run our own programs, but there are times and situations where it's just not possible. And so finding people who really believe in the model, who believe in the philosophy, and them being able to run it is really important. And then public safety with our violence interrupters. Our violence interruption program is, so we have trauma responders, we have violence interrupters. Within 24 hours of a shooting occurring, the trauma responder is notifying the team, finding the family, offering grief support. Oftentimes that de-escalates things really quickly anyway, in order for us to make the connection with the violence interrupters. And they use their credible messengers, they use their influence in order to be able to stop retaliations. But as LT will tell you now, people in the community know and respect them so much that now they're coming to them before even participating in an act of violence. And then also, I want to go back also with courts, there is the Gideon's Army Reentry Program that LT leads, and I want him to take some time and just talk about that very quickly, and then I just have a couple more things to share, and I'll be done.
Yes, greetings, everyone. With our reentry program, which I teach out of Napoleon's Hill's 17 Principles for Success, and it just shows brothers how to think, or people who enter our program how to think, because in most cases we just react, and a lot of things that we do, we do it out of learned behavior. And if you're growing up in these communities where all you are taught is to be extreme in everything, so without knowing there's another way or another option to deal with your conflict, you only gonna do what you see in your community, and in most cases, it's violence. And times done changed from back in my days, where okay, if you had a problem or somebody was ganging you or something, you'll pick up a bottle, you'll pick up a brick or whatever just to protect yourself. But nowadays, the communities are oversaturated with guns, so therefore that's the first thing they're grabbing. So what I do in our reentry program is sit the brothers down and then let them see situations that they may come in contact with, or they may what they situations that they may have, and allow them to talk it out. How would you respond if you was faced with a situation where if somebody stepped on your shoe, or if somebody said something disrespectful to you? All situations don't require the death penalty. Some situations you can walk out from, and that's 90% of them. And when they have someone that they can talk to that done been through most of the things that they're going through, they're more eager to listen. And that's the value of the program that we present to them. It get them out. So if they having problems in the community where somebody may have disrespected them, they can use us as a reason to squash the beef, as opposed to feeling like they have to be emboldened to prove a point to somebody. They can just say, well, they better be glad LT told me not to do it, so I ain't gonna do it. Because in most cases, when people do react or respond to situations, it's more out of ego or peer pressure. And we remove it from them to where they can place it on us. And in most cases, as you, like in the 3728 zip code where we operate out of, there's been a real decrease in violence. As Rashida spoke on, we haven't been getting many calls because we have introduced love into the streets. And that's our whole purpose when we go into these communities, is to interject or inject love, because in most cases that's what's missing. So our reentry program has since COVID done took place, we haven't had a chance to get together. So we just I just touch bases with them, with the individuals who are in our program, to make sure that they keeping their nose clean, they following what their supervision tell them to do. But yeah, it's a great program, and the violence interrupted program that we offer is second to none, and it goes to show by the decrease in crime out North Nashville this past year, or since we've been in North Nashville doing our violence interruption program. And if anyone have any questions, feel free to ask.
And I want to add, thank you, LT, that this is a pre-trial release and reentry. So we also go into court. We testify on people's behalf who we think are a good fit for the program. And I want to say like 99% of the time, people are released into our program We have a really small group that is pre-trial because, again, with COVID, once everything started, courts really shifted the way that they were doing everything. But we supervise individuals who are released from custody. We monitor compliance, help ensure that they appear at court. We do restorative interventions. We make sure that they have family support. You know, we buy phones, we pay bills, get them set up in apartments, like, you know, anything that it takes that we have funding for to do for these families, we do. And then with that leadership development component and with LT being a credible messenger, it's just so powerful the way that we see participants really transform through this process. We also have after-school art programs. We partner with Alive Hospice. We take our young people to grief camp. We do theater of the oppressed to engage the community in conversations around community change. Like, it's just so many things that we do. Let's see. In building this program and building our restorative justice programs, violence interruption programs, we did what we call family suppers. We did the theater of the oppressed sessions, getting the community through theater to discuss ways to bring change in the community. We met with almost all city agencies. We brought them together for a 2-day cure violence training, the mayor's office, MNPD, MNPS, MDHA, Metro Arts, Human Relations Commission, the Office of the DA, Public Defender, Juvenile Court, General Sessions. It was a very collaborative 2 days. We had youth who presented. We did collaborative data analysis. We met in the 3 communities that have the highest rates of violence, which would have been North Nashville, Casey, and J.C. Napier communities. Did I say that right? J.C. Napier University Court communities. So we met with them. And then when we did our data analysis, we met with community organizations who would be partners. And we all kind of collectively decided that North Nashville would be, even though it's the most complex of all communities, it would be the best community to start in. And some of our successes at Pearl Cone, we had 221 school-referred behavior interventions. Students entered our room for interventions and support 772 times. And that is data that comes from us, but school data, we reduced behavior infractions by 323% within our first 4 years. And this was featured on Edutopia as well. We were able to reduce student suspensions by 70%, expulsions by 77%, and 35 out of 36 seniors in our program graduated. We had a total of 61 families enrolled. At McKissick, all level 100 and 200 infractions come to us, most level 300. We had 51 school-referred behavior interventions. We had 25 families enrolled, and there was a 48%, from what I understand, reduction in out-of-school suspensions. And we survey our students, and our students say, and our community members say, that Gideon's Army helped them feel engaged, welcome, supported in schools. They fought less, motivated to improve. It reshaped the way that they look at violence and violent responses to harm that's been caused. The Gideon's Army gives them a safe place, and the Gideon's Army helps or motivates them to stay out of trouble in the community. So what we see as the future for Nashville, and even with everything that I've described, I feel like I've really only been able to really touch on what Gideon's Army does and what the violence interrupters do. And hopefully, you know, you all have been able to see that even with how rapidly they were able to respond when the tornado happened. You know, that was a manifestation of the work that had been going on that, you know, just underground. This is what they always do. They're always there. They're always responding to trauma. And so this was just a different type of trauma, but we use the same methodology. And I think it's also good that Gideon's Army is kind of leaderless in a way because, you know, LT sent out a message, Deidre sent out a message, hey, we're out here, and then everybody just falls in line because it's community led, it's community based, and whatever the community needs is pretty much what we do. We just integrate or have built that on a foundation of restorative justice so that what we do can be duplicated across different communities. It can be scaled and done in other communities. And so one thing that we're looking at is how do we create a Nashville that is restorative? What does it look like to be a restorative city? And I have been meeting with Mayor Cooper about this, just us working together, and I'm building a plan. Well, we're not working together, we've been talking about it, but I'm building a plan, pulling together other stakeholders to kind of help vision what Nashville would look like if we were fully restorative. And if we had restorative justice centers in each precinct that people could go to as opposed to reaching out even to the police, mental health first responders, people who are trained to actually respond and who are unarmed to go first in many situations. Most police calls are not violent. They don't have anything, to do with violence. There's a lot of mental health calls, and one organization that I really love is a national organization, but they're here and have a good presence in Nashville is NAMI. And NAMI, they're the national group. They really advocate for crisis intervention teams that are mental health first responders. We think it's really important for Metro to explore harm reduction strategies that don't criminalize people who are addicted to drugs or who use drugs, that don't criminalize people who are sex workers, but look at what are strategies to just reduce the harm while people are, in need. I would say in need because, folks generally don't just do drugs because of no reason. So, what is the harm that's being caused, and how can we work with people to repair the harm or to reduce the harm? And then just community-based diversions, like our pretrial release, our reentry program, like our programs in the schools, like the violence interruption program, like the restorative justice program that's run by Rafa, and then the ones that we're developing with the district attorney and Judge Bell, which right now is North Nashville centric, but we've already met and everybody's pretty much agreed that it would be citywide, and that we would be able to train up volunteers to actually also help with this so that all of Nashville is contributing to creating this new world in our city. And then community-based medics, the violence interrupters have been trained in CPR. They've been trained in, they've done the Stop the Bleed training, just some of the different medic trainings in partnership with, was it TriStar LT, yes. I think? Yeah, with TriStar hospitals. They came and did several trainings for us, but extending that to the community. And there are several models where community members have mental health first responders, where there are community medics that are addressing issues, just figuring out ways where we don't have to involve the police. And then the other thing is just looking at what jobs police officers do, because a lot of things that they do really isn't even in line with their job description. What police officers really want to respond to dog calls, or MMPD, they do mental health transport. So they might spend, 2-3 hours transporting someone to another county or something like that. Who could do those things? And what agencies could take those things over, or what organizations could take those things over, but still doing things from a restorative justice lens where people aren't being criminalized. And so those are the recommendations we have. That's where we're pushing the city. It is my dream that Nashville would be a model city for the nation, that we would be able to come together and think as wildly and think as outside of the box as possible. I think the only thing that is limiting us here is really ourselves, because the sky is the limit. And that is what I have for you.
Fantastic. Thank you so very much. Before I won't dive in myself, I always extend the floor first and foremost to the committee. So let me go first to any questions or comments from the committee. Any questions here? There.
Yes. I would just like to express appreciation to Rashida and to LT for coming on and for all that you do for Nashville. Your boots on the ground personified, and we just appreciate the breath of fresh air and alternative ways to get at our issues and our problems. And please continue doing what you're doing. And you mentioned scaling. And as I listen to all the things you do, one question was, how many volunteers do you have at your disposal to fulfill all of these things? And then how would scaling actually be able to happen?
Thank you. So we actually have a few thousand volunteers, especially after the tornado. As far as skilled volunteers, I would say maybe around 50 who've come, into the schools, work with us on school programs. It's so many who volunteer just in the community. What it would really take would be an investment from the city. Gideon's Army is the first organization in the 10-year history of Cure Violence to actually raise money to do and implement a program on our own. And we did that because it's young people out here dying. It's young people out here getting killed. And the city, just keeps wavering about raising money and donating money. The most that we've gotten from the city has been $15,000 for everything that we do. That is all we have gotten from the city. And so if we were to have, restorative justice centers in each precinct, and I don't know just off the top of my head what that would cost, but we would definitely start with the areas that came up from our preliminary research, which would be the North Nashville community, Casey, J.C. Napier. Was it anywhere else? No, it was those three. We think it would be better to start with those three communities. In North Nashville is a pretty complex community because you have Andrew Jackson, Cheatham, you have Cumberland View, Buchanan, up and down like that Buchanan area, and then you have back like where our store is, like 23rd and Osage, that area. So even within North Nashville, it's like 4 or 5 different communities, and each one of those really needs probably around 3 to 4 violence interrupters at least to be there full time. And we're working with, LT, Ham, True, really like four violence interrupters for all of North Nashville for everything they've done. And then, our school people and our trauma responders. So it would definitely require an investment from the city, and Glenn Funk and I are sitting down, like we've had a couple of meetings to see, with the number of referrals that we might get, like what would it look like to scale just our restorative justice diversions, and then the violence interruption, is something that's separate. So it's multiple programs that would have to be budgeted for in order for us to figure out how to do this, and then looking at what is the priority. For me, I definitely prioritize the violence interruption, having the violence interrupters in the community, as well as having people who can facilitate these restorative circles. And then third would be us being in the schools, which really is of the most important, but having the violence interrupters, they're so fluid through the community that we could get things started and then build from there.
Thank you.
Great. Any other questions, comments here? Anybody?
I had a question. First of all, I also want to echo Chris's comments. What you guys are doing, and I mean, I commend you. But one of my questions that I was going to ask, and Rashida, it sounds like you answered it, was if you were to prioritize, what would it be? And you've just answered that with having somebody, an interrupter, as you refer to them. If you were to put a dollar amount as to what it would take, in your opinion, conservatively, budget would you need to get? Obviously, pie in the sky, but if you just needed like a minimum budget, do you have any idea of what that might cost to be able to do that? Because my question was going to be, as us as a police, what can we look at trying to change as far as policies are concerned, so we can help with the efforts that you're doing and some of these other great organizations that Ms. Lucas and other folks have brought to our attention. So what kind of a budget or dollar amount would that be?
Well, the average cure violence budget is around $400,000 per community. And well, somewhere around in there. And then I would probably add maybe another 50,000 to that for just our programs, direct assistance, and things like that. And that's just a loose estimate. We're currently in negotiations. Well, we just signed an MOU with MDHA. And so looking at a lot deeper what it would take, but the things that we do are so involved. Like, we have a social emotional learning specialist who works in Cumberland View with the children. She does academic support. With COVID, it's been really hard in this pandemic for the children to cope, making sure that they all even have internet, know how to use their computers. We've seen instances of not necessarily child abuse, but things that could become abusive. And so having interventions there. So our program also kind of changes with the needs of the community, or with whatever, is kind of going on in our city or in the community or with the family. So I think, just tack on a little bit extra for field trips and direct assistance. We do stipends for parenting classes, things like that.
Mr. Delgado, anything else on that?
Hi, Rashida. I'm curious to know how welcoming the police department has been to your group, and if there's been a change in attitude or willingness to partner since we had a change in chiefs.
Thank you for that question. So, historically, Gideon's Army has had pretty good relationships with MMPD. When Gideon's Army released the Driving While Black report, that is when we began to see issues, but not with the commanders or any MMPD leadership. It was really Chief Anderson. And that's why Gideon's Army is not leading that diversion program in juvenile courts right now, because Chief Anderson pretty much said he wasn't going to do it if Gideon's Army was involved. And so the committee members who are a part of that, the government people, pretty much decided to move forward without Gideon's Army. So we've been able to work through that and really heal relationships that were broken during that process. When it was time to launch, or when it was time to doing our pre-assessments and all of that, we definitely involved MMPD. Commander Graves has been extremely cooperative. We just kind of moved around Chief Anderson, honestly, and we everybody just decided to agree where we could. And, you know, if we needed to fight about something on the side, fine, but it didn't impact the violence interruption program. And anything that we do in North Nashville isn't really impacted like something directly through the juvenile court program was. MNPD calls us when shootings occur. We have a hotline that is specifically for them. We had a situation, and I will say it has been easier with Chief Drake. He's extremely responsive. I am not endorsing him or anything like that, but I did text him in the middle of the night. One night, one of his officers, you know, had an interaction with one of our violence interrupters. Even though he had on his VI stuff, you know, the officer didn't believe that he was a violence interrupter and pretty much made him get off the streets. And instead of calling anybody to check and see, he got arrested. And I reached out to Chief Drake. Yeah, it was bad. I reached out to Chief Drake, and even though it was in the middle of the night, he responded. So I would say, yes, it has been easier, but all of the commanders have been extremely cooperative. We have had issues just with officers in the communities. Like, for example, Cumberland View, since we've started really focusing on Cumberland View, there have been no incidents of violence whatsoever. And instead of the police, like when they need to come into the community, they don't treat the community as though they've improved. They harass and are aggressive. LT, you're in the community. You should speak to that part more than I should, because I've seen it with my own eyes, but LT has seen it more than I have.
Yes. Well, you know, it's just situations where, you know, it's like the police sometimes look at us as if we toxic, or just because, you know, the fist. You know, people see the fist and feel like, okay, this is rebellion or this is against the police, but really it's a healthy alternative, because it's either the fist or they throwing up Crips and Bloods, you know, and we just trying to give them an opportunity to get with something that's going to be helpful or empowering to them. But, you know, they look at that sometimes as a sign of, you know, opposition. And you know, that's what I can say about it. But, you know, for us, them like harassing me or things like that, I haven't had any harassment from the police. However, I've, you know, community members have, you know what I'm saying, been harassed. Just like Rashida said, when you're doing good things, you know, where do the reward come from? You know, is it, you know, continue to pound on the community with an iron fist, or do you come with you know what I'm saying, some type of reconciliation where we can, you know, live in harmony in these communities, as opposed to, like I say, looking at us as if we the opposition.
Right. And I mean, what LT said is, I mean, that's exactly what it is. You know, just at what point is there a reward? At what point is the community treated gently? You know, and with our fists, you know, 5 fingers, we're separated. It's all about the collective. It's all about the collective, and that's what it represents to us, and it's what it represents to the community. And when they wear these shirts, it actually means something to them. So I would say, yes, MNPD has been cooperative. They've been involved since the very beginning. We were very intentional about involving them. Unlike Chicago, because in Chicago, Cure Violence is constantly being run out and brought back and defunded and brought back, you know. We haven't had that issue here. They've been supportive and just open. Commander Graves has been supportive and open. I think he really deserves recognition for it, you know, but I don't know how they do those things in MNPD, but he definitely deserves recognition for how supportive he has personally been to us.
from our group, we're a group that is studying current police policies and reviewing those with the idea of making recommendations as far as our recommendations about partnering with your group. I don't know if that is, if we can do anything more than suggested, but it seems like to me that you all are doing a great thing, and you're running into the same issue that every support group in town is running into. Yeah. It's a funding issue, and you know, I partnering is always important, and I know years ago when they first started drug court, they were able to get, and Lonell and Russ, if he's on this, were able to get I believe the council to create a bucket in court costs, and everybody that comes through when they pay court costs, there's another dollar added, which is never great, but you're trying to fund your project, and getting a grant writer, you know, is something that's always helpful. And obviously you all are doing great things. And I think our group would like to help you as much as we can. And I don't know that I have the answer for that, and maybe it's a separate meeting some other time to talk about how you try to get where you need to be on funding. But thank you both for the commitment that you've made. It's really impressive and meaningful.
Thank you so much. And, you know, this is where the call for reallocation of funding from the police, I mean, that's where it came from. And a lot of people don't want to talk about it. But, you know, at the end of the day, until the Driving While Black report, people were really over-policed in Nashville. People were stopped 7 times more than the national average. Black people were stopped and searched 3 times more than any other racial demographic in the city. But according to MMPD data, it was white women who were found with the most illegal activity in their cars. Once, you know, Driving While Black and actually really when New York University corroborated our data, the policing project, that's when, you know, a lot of the numbers started to come down, but it didn't impact crime one way or another. Crime did not increase because of that. And so, like, really looking at it, understanding that the way that we're doing things isn't working. Policing increases recidivism. Courts, incarceration, it increases recidivism. So, like, why we would continue to fund the same things that we know aren't really working, it doesn't really make sense to me. And I think that it would be really beneficial to look at the MMPD contract with MDHA. Like, if we were to start somewhere and maybe not hurt the pockets of MMPD, you know, too much, because that seems to be a concern that some people have, that we already have too few police officers and all of these things. But, you know, if MMPD, they've been in public housing, they've been canvassing and doing all of these things, and it didn't bring the numbers down. North Nashville is the only precinct that had a 7% decrease in violent homicides and shootings, and it didn't happen until the violence interrupters got there. And so I think it would be beneficial to look at that contract. And I think that MMPD might be even open to looking at that. I think that MDHA would be open, but they don't want the backlash from MMPD, and it is a contract. But that's somewhere that I would definitely start. And then looking at how MMPD is militarized. You know, who was it? Michael Brown. Was it Michael Brown in Ferguson? When that shooting occurred, okay. Oh, it's so sad. It's been so many people that it's hard to keep up. But when those shootings happened, when that shooting happened, Chief Anderson stood in front of hundreds and hundreds of civilians at Bishop Walker's church on Jefferson Street, Mount Zion. And he had police officers, pastors, and Chief Anderson said, we will not invest any more money in militarized police equipment, vehicles, any of these things. And then he and Megan Barry spent like $1 million in militarized equipment. And it was just fine. You know, with $1 million, Gideon's Army could do so much because we stretch every single dollar that we get for the community. And so, like, looking at how that money is being spent, I think it just needs to happen. I think it needs to happen. And that could be one way that we get, you know, some funding, the militarization of policing, because that shouldn't be, especially with the history of policing in America and the history of policing in the South, where it started, you know, militarizing the police, knowing that this is generally going to impact Black people and then brown people, immigrants, people with disabilities. You know, so looking at that and looking at the contract with MDHA, starting with the MDH, well, really militarization, because that is scary, but I would look at those two things. If y'all really, like, if you really want to see how we can do something and how we can fund this, that's where I would start.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Any other questions, comments here in the body?
I do.
Yes.
Okay. My question is specifically about mental health. I'm a psychotherapist and I have a history in community mental health. I've worked in the community and de-escalated mental health situations many times. One of the models that we're looking at is the CAHOOTS model. And when I say we, not just the commission, but also the organization I volunteer with, which is an entirely community-based response to those mental health calls that you were talking about earlier. Mm-hmm. And I think last year, it's located in Eugene and Springfield, Oregon, and I think last year they had 24,000 calls, and they only had to call for backup from the police like 250 times, which I think was like 1%. And I think it cost $2 million, but saved the city's like $17 million.
Right.
And, police, like you mentioned, the lost time. And we had a visit to the academy, and the officer said exactly what you said. You know, they're wasting their time having to transport people and, you know, sit with them down at the mental health co-op, who's worked so hard to, you know, streamline that process for them. If Nashville decided that it wanted to invest in either a co-response model or a completely community-based model, is that something that Gideon's Army would be, you know, and I'm not asking for a commitment, but would be interested in being the lead agency or the lead organization to house a response unit like that that's community-based?
That would make my whole life.
Oh,
it really would. And I love the CAHOOTS model. I love the fact that it's community people. That's why I was talking about volunteers and just the involvement of the people and like, I get really, really excited when we talk about mental health first responders. It's just so important. And volunteers and community people who are doing it, because it's very self-empowering. And so I would say absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And it fits in with what we're already doing.
Excellent.
And then we have good relationships with like Hands on Nashville, which are stronger because of the tornado. Mm-hmm. But we also have been, you know, reaching out to people within the communities. And with the way that we do things, like training people in the community, building their own skill set, it's just, I feel like it could be a way to help. It could be a stepping stone for some people who might not have an opportunity to do something like this, who may not be able to explore even other career pathways. Because we have people, like there's one young lady, she's always wanted to do social work, but she's never had an opportunity to go to school for social work. Well, here's an opportunity with Gideon's Army, and now she's pretty much over our disaster relief because she's been trained to do it, and she's been through foster care, adopted, public housing. She lives in Andrew Jackson, and she's over disaster relief for Gideon's Army. Like,
That's fantastic.
I love this response. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. And that's something that I just, as a shout out for social workers, is that there are legions of caseworkers. And I know when I was in community mental health, I went out in the middle of the night to psychiatric crisis calls. We were on call 24/7 and available to our clients. And so, using, those individuals as well as backup that are already trained therapists, already working with the families, I think that there could be so much more, and again, a win-win for everybody, like you said, that the officers are not trained to handle those calls that waste time and take them away from doing other things that they are trained to do and are meant to do for our community, and allow us in the community, as you and Larry have spoken so eloquently about bringing love and healing and reconciliation, is, I think, absolutely a big piece of all of this. So thank you all so much for everything that you've done for Nashville. You truly are such an asset to the city. And thank you so much for joining us here tonight. We really appreciate you.
Thank you. This was a pleasure. It was really nice to get to see all of your faces, well, and some of your initials, but I'll take it.
It's important. Hey, Rashida, we can't let you go first. We got Mr. Matthews. He also has a question for you, Mr. Matthews.
Uh-oh. That's only
Thank
trouble.
you.
I don't answer questions from Mr. Matthews.
Rashida's my friend. Thank you, Ashley, for recognizing me. I'll be real quick. You all talked about some of the harassment that you see in Cumberland View housing. You also authored the Driving While Black report. Me personally, in going through police and policy as we've been charged to do on this commission, I was really disturbed to see that we still have stop and frisk language and philosophies in our police and policy manual, primarily because it helps to promote a culture of over-policing in certain areas and to certain demographics of people. How do you all feel about stop and frisk policy? Because we haven't discussed that as a committee. It hadn't come in both things that we have discussed. It was something I saw this past week and something I want to bring up, but just because you all have authored Driving While Black and talked about harassment, I would love to hear your thoughts on stop and frisk.
Yeah, that was one of our recommendations in the Driving While Black report, is to end stop and frisk policies. They always have racialized outcomes, and it really puts the community at risk, but it also puts the officers at risk as well. And so all stop and frisk, it needs to be eliminated. And in any way that you all can think about, like restorative language, it needs to be replaced with those things, harm reduction, not just taken out, but replaced with something. Because what we find is when things are taken out, they still do whatever it was that was in there before.
Thank you for that. And thank you for presenting to us tonight. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
It's great. Thank you. Mr. Matthews gets on here with the bad hat. Nobody's going to follow him. Nobody. Nobody. Thank you. Any other questions, comments here from the body, from the committee?
I have just one more thing.
Yes.
You mentioned about violence interruptions. This is Domestic Violence Month, and some of the violence that occurs between couples. So would your unit deal with that, or do you see that as more of a specialized scenario or what have you?
Oh no, we deal with domestic violence situations where, matter of fact, when Phil Williams he done a interview with us, and as he was filming us over in Cumberland View, it was a domestic violence situation that was occurring, and we was able to intervene, and just tell the sister who had the issue with her boyfriend, that once we got all the facts, just look, y'all just stay away from each other. It's obvious it's not gonna work out, and just by us, talking to them and then knowing the community members, and them knowing us, they receptive and they listen to what we got to say. So it's easier to deal with it when you know the people, as opposed to, you coming in because somebody called you and now it's like somebody got to go to jail, as opposed to, okay, how can we resolve it without sending somebody to jail?
Yeah. Appreciate you, man.
And in Gideon's Army, the only ones who do deal with domestic are the violence interrupters. So our restorative justice circle facilitators, we don't put people in circles who don't know folks, who don't know the community, who don't have relationships. So it is very unique because, like LT said, they know the community, they know the people, they have relationships. And so kind of what they say goes a lot of times in the community. But we don't, like, if we were to expand, like, we would not include domestic violence in our circle process, more so because of the manipulation that often happens. So we're still kind of studying that. Really, the entire restorative justice community across the world is still studying that. And that is what makes Gideon's Army so beautiful. And our violence interrupters, LT is to my left on my screen, so I'm pointing to you, LT. So special is that they do have the influence to be able to deal with things that even across the world is just not being dealt with on a community level in the way that we're able to do it.
Artisans. Sorry. Anything else anyone would like to ask you? Okay.
Hi, Eric Brown. I see you.
Yep, Eric Brown. He's here.
Did he leave?
He was here. He's always here.
He missed my greeting.
Yeah, we'll make sure he sees it. He is it. Miss Freeman, were you about to say something?
Thanks, Ms. Davis. I don't actually have a question. I just wanted to take 5 seconds and say thank you. I know y'all do great work, and I really appreciate you both being with us tonight and sharing with us about your experiences and your needs. And we hope we can further support your work. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it goes without saying we're all on Team Gideon's Army way before Ellen was. That we just want to make sure we say that. Way before Ellen. So that should just go out there. That's important to say. Well, thank you so much, LT. Thank you, Ms. Patuga. We want to thank you again. You're welcome to stay with us. We're about to wrap up here, but we thank you and hope you enjoy your evening here too. And everybody that's come on here with us, we keep telling them to exercise your vote if you can. So we're telling you to do that too. Take a friend with you. Peace be with you. To the committee here, we are going to use the remaining of our time. I just want to give everybody a roadmap for the rest of our time here with us. We have October 29th will be our next time coming together, next Thursday, 6 p.m. And that will mark, that is actually marking for us our 10th week of coming together, because we began a week before the other committees came together. But we are a bit special in that we will need to meet that following week as well, just to ensure that we have everything together the way it needs to be, for two reasons. One, we need to make sure we have consensus, and perhaps we'll have it all together next week. I'm not asking us to come together on November 5th for no reason at all. But I do want to make sure that on the pieces where there still needs to be conversation, discussion around, where we still have a bit of dissension, that we have time for people to say, look, I disagree. I think it's X. Oh, no, I think it's Y. People have space to discuss that. So I think the best way to do that is for us to lay out the topics and the issues so that we can go issue by issue. I'm going to take the time to take out the two, and I think everyone's seen the email that Dia sent out where we have those two main pronged thematic ideas and the problems and issues, and put them under those two umbrellas. I don't want to confuse everyone right now, but Amanda and I will work on that together. Amanda, Mira, and I, because Mira's been very instrumental in that as well. And then we will put it together so that it's as concrete as possible. And we'll work also with Dia, John, and Eric as well to make sure that what we're putting together fits within the construct of what the other committees are doing as well. I also just want to acknowledge, too, that Mayor Cooper said during the conversation 2 weeks ago now, or a week ago, everything is smushing together here on the 14th, he said specifically to our committee that he wanted us to look at inconsistencies and point them out and pull those out. And essentially he was asking that he made a specific ask of our policy committee. We're trying to explore what we can do within the space and time of 2 weeks. It may not be something that we can do. So this may be something that we have to ask the COB, the Community Oversight Board, to assist us with. And if that's the case, I think that we should decide as a committee if that's something we type up a short letter and ask the COB to assist us with, or if we go another route with, but how do we keep the community centered in this ask? And I'm happy to go in more detail about that, but I think that's something that Mira should be centered in talking more about, because she was in the room when the mayor made that specific ask. So I'm not trying to kind of open a can of worms here. I just wanted to center that topic again because she was in the space there. I'm happy to answer any questions folks might have, but I feel that's important to point out. Any questions on any of that, and also Vice Chair Lucas, any comments you would like to make too?
I just wanted to make a statement really quickly, is that I think it is very important that we provide the support to the mayor that he has asked for in terms of identifying, asks of the new chief. But since the work that we've done is so comprehensive, I want us to understand that it needs to be done to the best of our ability. And if we need to go into that extra week, I really suggest that we take that opportunity and make sure that we have the best product possible. Everybody has worked extraordinarily hard, done a lot of work, given a lot of their free time. I know you all are devastated to know we only have a few weeks left of our meetings. You're going to miss us when it's over. But I want to be respectful of the timeline, but at the same time, we were given this task, and I think that we need to see it through and do what it is that we've been asked to do. And if we have to go into the first week of November, I think we need to do that.
Yep. I think it's a great point, Vice Chair Lucas. I'd like to think of you all as my Thirsty Thursday crew that I've never had a drink with and have the greatest cups of water with. I think it's a great point, right? Like, we've come together all these Thursdays together, and we can do it 2 more times. We have good purpose and good cause, so let's do it and get it done. You have our commitment here as your chair and vice chair that we will guide you through it, and thank you so much for being diligent, for answering every email and every ask. I think I've called folks in their phones, I've emailed, I text people, and every time folks respond right away and go, yes, what can I do? So thank you so much. We will get through this. So I know. Any other questions, comments here before we adjourn here? And also, Ms. Cirillo, I see you here on the line. And I also see Mr. Button. Anything for the good of the cause that you might share here with the body? I see you shaking, Ms. Cirillo, so I'll take that with no mute. Yeah, good. Okay. Well, if not, then we will adjourn here at 7:21. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week on October 29th. Thanks, everyone. Have a good evening.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.org.